Hi guys, PJ here. Today I'm working on a Cupra Formentor, I think that's how I pronounce it anyway, 2021 model, and I'll be installing a dash cam to the fuse box of the vehicle. This in front of me here is basically the items I'll be using to get the job done. We've got a plastic leverage tool. Don't want to be using a screwdriver, guys, you damage all your trim, no good. Get one of these, eBay, Amazon, about £1, well worthwhile. Pair of snips, electrical tape, multimeter, or one of those test probe screwdrivers that lights up when you touch a circuit. So in other words, the handle has a bulb in it and it lights up. Very handy. And some fuse spurs. These again available car shops, eBay, Amazon, etc. And all these do is double up one fuse socket to 2. So in other words, you'll have a 2 or 3 amp just here to run your camera. And then the one on the inside is the fuse that you remove from your fuse box to run the original circuit that was designed to run. Okay, now this particular camera has like a parking mode that's hardwired in, so we've got 2 fuse spurs, just there, look. Power cable to it is here, come here, sort of stuck, there we go. So we've got 2 powers, we've got a constant and we've got a switched, and we've got a black wire which is an earth somewhere as well, disappeared down into the yonder somewhere. So what I'm going to do is basically prepare the power cable first, like this. After measuring it up against the top of the window screen so that it goes, you know, from the rear view mirror across to the A-pillar, I popped a couple of cable ties on there, and that's just to basically help it stay up above the headlining. So in other words, you don't want to hit a pothole and the cable comes dangling down in front of your window screen while you're driving along. Just to bulk the cable out a bit, just to keep it in place. Now what we're going to do is ease the headlining down slightly. You can do this with your fingers, it's not normally in very tough. Here we are at the top, there's your power cable, and if you put your fingers under, you just flex it, look, just enough to be able to get the cable ties up and under, like so that it stays put nicely. You don't need to go out like a bull in a china shop, you know, it is delicate, so just ease it down with your fingers, tuck it all the way along till you get to this corner here, and then there's an airbag behind this plastic. So what we're going to do is get our fingers again, flex that out of the way. Can we show you the airbag? There we go. You put your finger behind the airbag, look, there you go. Put your cable behind the airbag and run it down the trim panel here, all the way to the edge of the dashboard. Okay, once you get down to here, sorry about the background noise guys, but there's not a lot I can do about it, unfortunately. I don't choose the location of where we're doing these vehicles, and today I'm doing a row of these particular vehicles, so whichever one I did, you'd have background noise, my apologies. So what we're going to do now, look, is put your trim leverage tool in, pop that off carefully, look behind it, it's on clips, look, there you go. So we're going to take that basically out of the way, you need both hands, it sticks behind the rubber trim here, so basically you just sort of pull the rubber trim back and pull it away like so, and then we're going to run our cable down underneath it. There's the view with the panel removed. This gives access to a really good earthing point. You can either undo this nut, this 13mm nut, and put your earth behind it, or you can do what I'm going to do, put the earth shield over it, and then quite literally get a spare nut and washer, sandwich it between the two. So it ends up looking like that. Now on this particular vehicle, your fuse box is located behind the glove box. It's tucked away up here, and you've got to push these tabs in here, one each side, and then pull the glove box lid down to access it. Right guys, now on to power. Now this is the third one of these in a row that I've just done, and they've all been the same fuse box layout, but they are all identical models, okay? Now bear in mind, this fuse box layout could vary depending if it's right or left hand drive, if the spec's different, if the components are different, so you will have to test your own. On these, this row on the end here is switched live, so if we touch that, so we're on the fuse there, get it to focus properly, there you go, 0 voltage. And if we go across to this row, onto that 15 at the bottom there, look, constant. So what we're going to do is use probably one of these spare slots here as a constant power, and then we're going to use probably this bottom fuse here as an ignition switched live. Like I say, I've done 3 others and they were all the same sort of layout, and it worked very, very well. So first things first, let's get a fuse spurs plugged in and plug them into this. Now bearing in mind the feed for your power comes from the right hand side of this rail and the left hand side of this rail, just a quick note there. power cables have been tucked down across the top there and dropped through the gap at the top there to the fuse box. Worth noting, if you're using a camera that only has an ignition switched live, so in other words if parking mode runs off of battery, you're only going to need a switched live, yeah? So in other words, you're only going to be using this bank here, the one that goes on and off with the ignition. You're not going to be using your permanent live. A lot of next-based cameras only require one live, so I'm just pointing that out. This isn't a next-based one I'm fitting, so hence it has two. So we have one for accessory and one for battery main. Battery main goes to your constant power and accessory goes to your switched. So we'll plug those in right now. Now would be a good time to test your camera works, and when you've done that, pop your end trim back on just by lining up the lugs, give it a quick tap all the way around, and then basically flip the rubber seal back over the edge here, fold your glove backs back in. Don't forget your little runner that goes on the edge here. It's basically like a ratchet system. You shove it in there and it clicks into your edge of your glove box. And pretty much that's it, guys. I can't show you the camera working on this one because it's actually having one fitted that doesn't have a screen, so there's not much happens when I power it up. There's the fuse box, look, when it's done, with the correct orientation of the fuses. And that's your lot. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now.